welcome back into Race Central Unplugged. This is episode 10. So happy to have everyone back in here. I'm Sydney Corra, right next to longtime motorsports insider Kurt Hansen. Kurt, this is an exciting episode after a weekend full of festivities.
Yeah, so how do you like this? My wife and the family all went to the Grand Wailea in Maui for 8 days. I couldn't go because of the bash after the clash, but I got a T-shirt and a set of these really, really cool. These are like virality beads or
mala beads.
No, they're not. They're malas, but they're like they make you more virile. I can't say that with a broken jaw.
Oh.
Better than a little blue pill.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That just happened.
Wow, what a great gift from your wife.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We so to get to my age, you get a lot of emails for hair replacement, little blue pill, final expense. It's really exciting to open all that mail up and see all the great opportunities that are presented to me as I'm about 10 days out from my 65th birthday. Yikes.
Well, after all, let's not forget, I do work at a sports radio station, so I'm very familiar with all of those ads. It gets a little annoying, when every commercial is an ad for that on the sports radio station.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, right?
You're doing it the natural way. You're going the spiritual route.
I'm going to see if I can, just put these around my head. That's in the way. Maybe I'll just wear it like a headdress from now.
Yeah, that's your new look.
Yeah, get smarter from the top down. Good job this weekend. It's good to see you. Very nice to meet your very handsome friend. That was cool. You guys are a cute couple. A couple of what's I don't know, but you're kind of glowing over there. So I'm gonna step aside on that deal. But I don't know. I mean, I'm going to call that the Kiss Your Sister 500. It just wasn't very exciting. The crowd we had at Podium Karting was amazing. Our biggest ever and our best ever party. And I thank all of our partners that were there with us. It's pretty easy for me to get excited about the Daytona 500 because it does kick our season off. And it's such an important, it's like a song. The song has to get off. You got to get launched. You got to get into the song. It's like the radio show. You got to get boom. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's got to. Right. And man,
it's the intro. It's like the kickoff.
Yeah, the kickoff. And man, that was more like I don't know. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. Well, why don't you explain in case anyone missed it? Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that?
It never felt like the Clash was exciting year one because there was a flow, there was a rhythm, there was a vibe. Their halftime break. Was Dr. Dre, if memory serves me correct, or no?
Drivers were excited. They had a new car.
Who was the singer? Was it Dr. Dre, or was it? I know it wasn't that guy Wiz Khalifa because I didn't know what that was. Anyway, the place was popping. The Clash felt disjointed this year. It came away with no vibe.
Right.
The Daytona 500, I mean, it was exciting for the first 10 laps. Just what was kind of cool is literally it was like Noah's Ark. They were side by side throughout the first 15, 20 laps, which I can't ever recall seeing that before. And I thought it was setting up to start to go Wiz Khalifa. And it didn't. They didn't even take a whiz. It just kind of went on, like the band played on. It just, I never felt that it really got a vibe. Now, I did say all day long that with 50 to go, things were really going to start cranking. And did they. Yeah. So I nailed that one. But in Daytona, when you see that just kind of riding around all day long, in all my years, what that tells me is we're setting up for the big one, and we had the big one twice. And super congrats to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I mean, it's been 5 years since he's won a NASCAR race. He's been with JT Daughtry, a one-car team for that whole time. And I think Ricky's career, it's kind of been topsy-turvy. I'll leave it at that. He was a great team owner with the great folks from Vail, the Marshalls, and the Stenhouse Marshall NOS Energy Sprint Car team with Tyler Courtney, and I mean he's a cool cat, but he's just kind of. It's just kind of gone up and down. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So to see him get the win, boy, for a little team like that, a one-car team, that is so huge that you can't even imagine. But, aside from the crashes, it was more like as soon as the crash started to happen, I'm looking, okay, who's in it? And I think Martin Truex was very strong at the end. I think he could have been right there. Your pick, Joey Logano, I don't know how the hell he survived all that stuff. But, I mean, he was second.
Looks like I made a good pick.
You made a very good pick. For
anyone who wasn't watching our live stream on Facebook or who just missed it, I picked Joey Logano to win the race.
Yes, you did. So. and I'm just looking here real quick. So I do. AJ Allmendinger finished sixth. AJ was in that thing right till the last conflagration, and he got caught up in that and got some damage. But, I mean, how excited. I did say I thought, and you know this young lady, we go back to the videotape. I said I had a gut feeling for a dark horse. And I don't think you could have gone any darker than the Stenhouse horse. I mean.
And why do you say that?
Because the odds were, this is why I don't bet. Everybody asks me to make a pick or a bet. I never in a million years would have picked Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, you went with the odds and you took Joey Logano. You said his momentum would carry forward. Candidly, I think Joey got very lucky.
He did.
But you know what? You need a little luck to win. But as I just looked down this, Chris Buescher. I said towards the end of the race that the normal suspects are running up in front. When I say suspects, they're not the favorites. It's the Chris Bueschers. It's the Allmendingers. It's the Chastains. I mean. Riley Herbst, 10th. Who would have picked Riley Herbst for top 10?
Yeah.
But, Eric Amarola is always good at Daytona. Mm-hmm. The 3-car, it's what happens when you get old. Dylan.
You know what? Maybe NASCAR is going to have an NBA year where it's like the super teams are kind of they're not popping anymore, and it's like these smaller market teams are kind of coming up, and maybe it's their year this year. Maybe it's the year of small market in NASCAR.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm trying to find. I can't believe I forget to say, but the 3-car. He won a couple of years ago at Daytona. His brother's Ty Dillon. And it'll come to me probably at 2:00 in the morning. But there's always a group of guys that seem that they get it together. Bubba Wallace was right there. They get it together at the plate races. This is why the plate races are so unpredictable. But, good for Ricky. But I hate to say it, but that Daytona 500 is never going to go down as an epic Daytona 500.
Yeah. Well, the crash at the end was sort of a buzzkill a little bit.
You think? And I wasn't even drinking throughout the day, but it just, when you see a lot of guys riding around, you know that it's gonna get rock and roll, and people are gonna start beating and banging, and that's exactly what happened. Like the old saying goes, "Rubbin's racing," but they were beating and banging. And it's just, it's going to happen. Travis Pastrana, boy, Travis was right there, and he got super tore up in that last accident. But with a little bit of help, I don't think we're talking about Travis Pastrana, but wow. How cool would a top 3 for Travis be?
Oh, yeah. A lot of races left.
So, a lot of races to
go.
Yes, a lot of races to go. So, as a somewhat casual NASCAR fan, if that was your first NASCAR race ever, first Daytona 500, would you be hooked, or would you kind of be going, too small a sample size?
Well, okay, I would say I think I probably last year's was better, just overall, all around. So it's hard to tell you that, considering what we saw last year. I mean, there was so much excitement sort of leading up to the race, so you had momentum. I think this year there was less momentum heading into Daytona 500.
I think the class took care of that.
But I mean, if you're the type of if you want to see big, okay, let's say that you tuned in like the tail end of the race. I don't think it was too bad. I mean, like I seen a crash.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Seeing a crash as a first time viewer, it's kind of exciting, you know. But as an experienced NASCAR fan, you don't want to see that. But I don't know.
You're right. The end of the race was the very best part.
I mean,
until we started stage racing years ago, you could watch the first 20 laps, go mow the lawn, pet the dog, clean out the kitty litter box, and come back with 25 to go and see the two best parts of the race. That they hope to take care of that with stage racing, and I like stage racing, frankly. I think they've done a good job of it. The name I'm coming up with is Austin and Ty Dillon, by the way. But it just, I don't want to say I was bored, but I wasn't riveted to my seat. But you're right. If you tuned in for the last 25 laps, you saw the best part of the race, that might excite you and say, let's go to Vegas and let's go check this thing out again.
Absolutely. So, Kurt, let me ask you this. What were some driver reactions? Did you get a chance to sort of, I don't know how long you stuck around at the end of the race or how tuned in you've been since the race, but what's the aftermath been like? Any memorable moments or things that happened amongst the drivers? Any drama or anything like what's the driver reaction? Can you give me some insight?
Well, so we stuck around, for quite a long time. So we had a lot of people there and still a lot of raffles and stuff to give away, but I did not catch much. I think the overall, I don't want to put it into a box, but I think after the clash, there's a lot of pissed off guys. I think after Daytona, a lot of the drivers just kind of played it very politically correct, close to the vest. Let's not create any border wars, at least not at this point in the season. We're one race in, and let's just kind of go home and assess and move on to Las Vegas. I mean, I'll be in Phoenix in a couple of weeks. I'll be able to answer that question better because we'll be down there. We'll be doing some live streaming. But I think most of the responses I saw were just kind of the typical, sorry for my guys. Car was pretty good. I'm not sure who hit me. We'll have to. Everybody just stayed, from what I saw, pretty much ho-hum.
Yeah. Okay, here, this is fresh in my mind. Like, speaking of Joey Logano, like, he went on quite a run there at the end of last season. And maybe that'll carry over here this year. What does it take as a driver? It's hard to understand or grasp, like, what sort of mental state you have to be in or what it takes to win consistently and to be like a great champion in motor racing. And I don't know what's your opinion on that? Like, how do you stay at the top? Like, how do you consistently win races?
Our audio just went to crap, and I lost your visual, so I'm not sure if I heard that. Actually, I know I didn't hear that.
Okay,
so I'm going to just lay out. I can hear you now.
Okay. Do you want me to re-ask the question?
Yeah, just shorten it up because I know it was pretty long, but I don't want to keep people hanging around that long.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was my question was, what does it take as a NASCAR driver and as a team to consistently win races and like stay at the top? Because there's so much variation within like who's winning and stuff. Like, how do you stay consistent?
Well, that's the $84 million question. Speaking of the 84, Jimmy Johnson, he had a pretty good day going, albeit for getting torn up at the end. But Jimmy, who was my quote unquote dark horse, but I did say I thought a true dark horse would win, and that is certainly my guy Stenhouse. But Sid, if I had the answer to that question, I would be I'd be living on an island
But
with a big airplane and a big boat and a big pina colada in my hand right now, not looking out the window at 7 degrees of snow here in the Mile High. So, the short answer is focus, consistency, and stay ahead of the curve. You hear the saying all the time, or at least I say it, when you unload fast. Unload fast means that you push the car out of the hauler and you're right at the sharp end of the grid right away, whether it's IndyCar, NASCAR, NHRA, Formula One. Don't get behind, because when you get behind, then you start, throwing changes at the car. You start getting, maybe too aggressive or making so many changes that it gets worse, and you're not even sure. You got to have a good baseline. So the chassis setup, you have a good baseline, and that's what we talk about when you go track to track to track, having baseline. Now these teams from last year's next gen car, they go to a place like Las Vegas or they go to Phoenix. They have a baseline, so you can deviate a little bit either way on that deal. But if you unload slow, it's really hard to catch back up.
Yeah, right.
It's like we say here for the Colorado Rockies: get behind early so you have a lot of time to catch up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I think we just keep rolling along here. Because I got a few more questions here. Well, I want to get, what's that?
Frightening.
Yeah, I want to get to. I want to talk about our party and some of the things that happened at the party, and especially the guests that we had that were signing autographs there. Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this: the next gen car. It's been a year, since it's been implemented. Like full circle here. It's here. It's here to stay. What are your overall thoughts, or what do you make of last year and the driver experience with the next gen car? And what do you make of how drivers will be responding to the car this year? Because I think that there was a lot of dissatisfaction with it last year. You think drivers are in now?
And drivers are crybabies, so there's always going to be dissatisfaction. So when you're those guys, you're whiners. That's just the way it is. A lot of times winners are whiners, but usually the best winners aren't whiners. But I think the biggest complaint last year was, well, obviously cars catching on fire because they had some issues. But I think it was the safety. Now NASCAR's not come out and made big bold statements about what they've done to make the car safer this year, but there's no doubt in my mind that they have. I think it's another year. It's another year of development, and it's only going to get better. So, I was at the private test in Phoenix a month or so ago, and they were testing the car with some aerodynamic changes, and they were testing with mufflers. So they won't be. Well,
why would they be doing that?
Well, because they want to make the car aerodynamically better, and maybe because they didn't really go into big detail about the changes they were making, but I think they're trying to make it a little tougher to draft in big packs. But it sure didn't work at Daytona because they were drafting in big packs. Make the air a little more turbulent behind the car so you don't get guys running up, nose to tail in a 10 car chain. Oops, I guess that didn't work because we saw that at Daytona. But it is restrictor plate racing. We'll have to see when we go to the non-plate tracks what happens. But we're testing mufflers because the Clash, they didn't want the cars to be as loud. And I think that's probably going to come into play at the Chicago Street Race also downtown this summer. So I don't know. It's too early to tell. The sample size is too small. I know the racing will get better. And Daytona is Daytona. It's like I've always said. That's why I don't make predictions. Even the wisest guys, right. I'm not a wise guy, but I'm pretty smart. But I did say, this is the third time I've said this, I had a feeling a dark horse would win. And thank God your guy didn't win because my dark horse did. So neener.
Oh, look, I didn't pick Joey Logano because I like the guy. Okay, if I had to put money down, that's who I'd pick. Well, okay, let me ask this. Okay, so we're Daytona 500 is in the books. It's gone with what now that we've had a chance to kind of get a little bit of the vibe, a little bit of perspective on what the season might look like. What are you most excited for this year? What are you looking forward to the most?
So early in the season, that's a tough one. That's tough to say.
It's got to be Chicago, right?
Oh, so you're talking about a potential venue? Oh, absolutely.
Anything really.
Yeah, I'm excited for Martin Truex. I think he's going to have a big year, a bounce back year.
That's your guys' year.
Yeah, I think he might be the guy. There's speculation. They're already saying he may come back in 2024. We'll see how that plays out. But I don't know if Martin's the guy, but I think he's going to have a much better season. I wish Jimmy Johnson was going to stick around for a lot more. Who knows? He may come back and do some more races, maybe Southern 500 or Talladega or some of those other races this summer. The big ones, Darlington, Talladega. But yeah, Chicago's going to be something else. But I think the momentum that NASCAR created last year with the Clash, they've not revisited that to this point.
Right.
Let's get some other really exciting races under the belt. But I think Truex is going to be a guy to watch. I'm excited. Good point for Chicago. Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick didn't show me much at Daytona, which is surprising, but it's like I say, it's Daytona. So it's his last hurrah. There's a lot to be excited about. If I went into all of it, we'd be here for an hour. But I think those are some of the points that are definitely top of mind for me.
Okay. Last question before we sort of circle back to our party. Next race, Vegas. Okay, what can we expect there? What are the parameters of the race? Maybe predictions. What do we have to look forward to?
Well, so Vegas is a lot more of a traditional race. It's not like Daytona. It's interesting because Phoenix used to be the first race after Daytona, which was really awkward because you went from a restrictor plate track where nothing was similar to going to a place like Phoenix, which I thought was kind of exciting because you got to a real race right off the bat. Vegas is Vegas. It's big. It's fast. It's a lot more similar to Daytona than Phoenix is. That's for sure. So maybe Vegas is a chance to kind of recoup, and maybe some of that data from Daytona can be a carryover, even though I don't know that for a fact. I don't know, but it's going to be a much different looking race. But again, I think that the usual suspects: Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Bowman the Showman, who was your pole sitter at Daytona. This is where it's going to start getting back to, as I say, the usual suspects. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Again, Daytona 500, a lot to take away, a lot to look forward to. But obviously, I think the funnest part of Daytona for us is the dash after the Clash, which was a lot of fun. We had, I think this year, the highlight of the party this year was our two young female racers that were there signing autographs, Krista Hilton and Tessa Marine. But Krista Hilton races Pro Truck, right?
Yes, and she's very good at it. I'm just trying to. Actually, I take that back because I had a feeling it's Auto Club Speedway. So it's Fontucky. It's not Vegas. Vegas is Vegas is the next week. I thought I had it. Yeah, I had it backwards. So next is Auto Club Speedway. So I'm glad I checked that because I'm thinking. Yeah. No, it's because I was supposed to go to Vegas. So Auto Club Speedway. You can take Auto Club Speedway and Vegas and kind of mix them together because they're both very similar. So yeah, I'm glad I checked that because Auto Club Speedway, then Vegas, then Phoenix, which I will be at. Wow. And here we go. And then it goes to Atlanta. So, we're quick out of the bag. But California and Vegas are both very similar. Big, fast, wide open, especially California, Fontana. I don't know. I can almost intertwine them. California is much like a Daytona. It's big, fast, flat. and cars go really fast there. I'm looking forward to the remodel because that's coming up. They're going to redesign the track there, and they are, because I'm forgetting. This is what happens when you have too much going on. So we're four days away. It's the final. That's what I thought. It's the final 2-mile race at Auto Club Speedway, as they are going to change the configuration of the track, the size of the track. It's going to look more like Martinsville. It's going to be more like a paperclip. So
in California.
Yeah, they're going to. There's too many. There's too many of the cookie cutter tracks, and that's why I was trying to get away from that, because it's just too many of them. It's like I love.
They need more variation.
Yes, and I love Girl Scout cookies, but after 8 boxes of Thin Mints, I'm okay.
Okay, so what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
I think probably Thin Mints or the Tagalongs or whatever the hell they call them.
You're not going with Samoas?
Yeah, Samoas are right there.
Yeah.
I don't eat that much of that stuff anymore, kid. Jesus criminy. I'm trying to get thinner, not fatter.
Yeah, well, maybe you should start drinking some of that green stuff.
Scares the hell out of me.
Okay, let's take the last few minutes here just to sort of give a shout out to everyone that showed up. I think my favorite moment from the party, other than you getting to meet my significant other, which is cool and hilarious. I really enjoyed talking with Photo Joe Star, who we frequently have on on our radio show, who told me some great stories about sort of what he calls the glory days of racing. And
Nice.
I'll probably cut that.
You probably you had too many Samoas.
Yeah, I did. I actually had some Girl Scout cookies right before we came on.
There we go. Don't ever eat before you go on the air. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe Star, I was able to talk to him. And how old do you think he is? Like, you think Joe Star is like in his 60s, 70s? He's
a little older than I am, I think.
Yeah. Well, he gave me some cool insight on what the racing community is like here in Denver, and sort of the history of the racing here in Denver, and he talked a lot about the 70s and stuff that's going on up at the track in Thornton, and so that was cool. I enjoyed that. But then also we had some girls. Well, here, before we get into that, what was your favorite moment from the day?
Going home.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Yeah,
long day. No, it goes by so fast that when I reflect on it, I start getting bits and pieces. But I'm still unpacking, recovering, getting ready to go to Phoenix on Saturday. Yep. You know what? Simple answer: just being there and getting to see all the fun and excitement on people's faces.
Yeah, that's great.
Makes it special.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we had two cool gals there, young gals, Krista Hilton and Tessa Marine. Tessa drives Legend. She does Legend racing, and then
Krista just got back to Chili Willy. Young Hilton is doing a pro truck. I mean, both these girls have, but potentially they can find the dough to keep the go. Could have big careers, but they're definitely on a hot streak here in Colorado, and 2 young ladies to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. If any racing fans in the Colorado area, definitely, I mean, and anywhere, if you're watching this outside of Colorado, you want to keep an eye on these people and hop on the bandwagon sooner, like support young racers. I think that's how the sport stays great and, stays kicking, is by supporting young racers and just supporting.
There's a lot of young women coming up too in NASCAR to keep an eye on. And you can follow them, the 2 of them, probably easiest at bigwestracing.com.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kurt. Well, is there any last things that you want to say before we head out of here?
I'm going to go have a Samoa.
Yeah. Go get another box of Samoas. You could use it.
Got it. See
Yeah.
you Friday.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for tuning in to Race Central Unplugged. This has been episode 10. Can't believe we're at 10 already. What a great episode to have as number 10 is our Daytona 500 wrap-up. Anyways, we look forward to seeing everyone in next episode, episode 11. So stay tuned next week. And, of course, always tune in to the radio show from 3 to 5 on ESPN Denver 1600. That's Race Central on the radio. And
you're streaming around the country, around the globe at racecentralmedia.com. Also, Race Central TV, the next edition comes out. We had incredible Daytona highlights. We've got Radioactive. We've got the really cool tribute that they did to 75 years of NASCAR and the 65th running of the Daytona 500. It's going to be a good show, and you can also catch it at racecentralmedia.com.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.